The White Rabbit finished reciting a very long poem, but no one understood its meaning. In any case, the king had no intention of understanding it, and he still believed that the knight was the one who stole the pies. The king asked the queen if she had ever written poetry, and the queen said she hadn't. The king then smiled and looked around the courtroom, saying, "That was a non-poetic statement, wasn't it?" But the courtroom remained silent. Was this a pun? The king got angry. But everyone else laughed. Let the jurors consider their verdict. The king repeated the same words for about the 20th time that day. No, the verdict should come first, and then the trial. You're talking nonsense. Alice shouted loudly. The queen turned purple with anger and shouted, "Be silent, I won't." Alice replied defiantly, "Off with her head." The queen screamed, but no one moved. "Who's listening to you?" Alice said. By this time, she had returned to her normal size and was no longer afraid to speak up. "You're all just a pack of cards." At that moment, the entire deck of cards flew up into the air and then fell back down on her. She let out a scream, a mixture of anger and frustration. Just as she was about to toss the cards into the air, she suddenly found herself lying on the riverbank, with her head resting on her sister's lap. Her sister was gently brushing away the fallen leaves from her face. "Wake up. Dear Alice, how long have you been sleeping?" her sister said. Alice told her sister about all the bizarre experiences she had just had. After finishing her story, her sister kissed her and said, "What a strange dream, dear. But now it's time for tea, and it's getting late." So Alice got up and walked away, still pondering the incredibly strange dream she had just experienced. After Alice left, her sister remained seated, gazing quietly at the setting sun below, thinking about little Alice and the wonderful adventures in her dream. Then, her sister too drifted into a dream. In her dream, she saw a grown-up Alice, but she retained the innocence of her childhood. She would use these whimsical stories to entertain children, perhaps reliving the dream she had just experienced long ago. She would share the children's simple joys and the childhood memories filled with happiness. The rustling of the reeds was merely a gentle breeze. The ripples on the pond were just the swaying of the grass. The clinking of the teacups was the sound of bells on the well, and the queen's screams were merely the shouts of a shepherd boy. The piglet's sneeze, the chirping of the cherry picker, all merged into the bustling noise of the village during the busy season. In the distance, the low mooing of a cow turned into the mournful cry of the mock turtle. Finally, she imagined a scene where her little sister had grown into adulthood, while she herself would forever cherish the innocence of her childhood. She would use these quirky stories to delight children, perhaps even recounting this very dream as part of those tales. She would share in the children's simple worries because they were her own from a time of joyful summer memories.